Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to Dreamy Dreamland. Al Bob, I am your sensei, your griot, here to tell you a story. So, what do you think? You know, World War III, environmental collapse, aliens invading. What do you think? Hmm? So, this show, it's a live chat, right? You're supposed to be over there chatting away, right? And I must have over 2,000 shows up by now, right? There's quite a few. I was like thumbing through them, and there were more than I could count. And we go, well, I don't know what to look at. Well, just pick anyone and watch the first 3 minutes. If it's interesting, keep going for another 3 minutes. If you get enthralled, before you know it, it's over. And you might have been imparted with something because every show I do has this element of shamanic energy. Now, what is that? What is that, Sensei Al Bob? Here we go. Take a big breath in. Keep going. Keep going. And then out. And when you're breathing in prana. That's the life force. That's what animates your bag of water. Otherwise, you'd just be a bag of water with some trace elements, right? And that is what gives you life, right? So breathe that way and be consciously intent about breathing that way because you want to understand. You want to have a relative perspective of your 360, what's going on around your world, so you can see what's coming at you, right? So it doesn't get in your grill. So you can see it 3 blocks away and just not be there when it goes by, right? And people say, oh, I can't meditate. I can't pray. I can't talk to God. Well, no, you can. You're wired to, right? And when you're breathing in like that, what it does, it causes your subconscious, your ego, to slow down and kind of go to sleep. And it will, oh, no, 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 no. I want to stay in control. I have to stay in. So all these bad thoughts will come to your mind. Oh, I got to pay my bills. How am I going to do this? I need to do that. I need to do. I mean, and John Boy, he is the canary in the coal mine, the saint of truth, right? Because he doesn't even know what he's doing to a point that you can see what's going on in the world through his reflection. And that's what God is doing with us. God doesn't have a clue, right? And God is a work in progress. You pick whatever pronoun you want to give to God, right? Because I'm not, right? It's way beyond my pay stub. So, but I do know that God is love. That's all that God is love. He's not a big dude sitting on a gold toilet shitting on everyone. No, he's not that. He's not some orthodoxy. He's not that. He's not something to be litigated. That's what the scripture is a litigation, right? It's liturgic. It's liturgy, right? And the Hebrews wrote it out in a scroll, so you could, that little block of wood that they wear in their head is so they can be exactly how far from the letter of the law they need to be, right? And that's grammar, and grammar is a yardstick, but it's not there to measure the truth or the validity or the dynamic of it, right? And dynamics is what runs the world, right? And when that prana, that photonic illumination, whereas the satanic illumination is incandescent light. So, oh, it's so bright, it's so beautiful. That's the incandescent light. It throws a shadow over everything, a pall. Where God's love is photonic. There is no shadow. There is no pall. There is just essence of love's co-creation. I want you to feel that now. Come on. You can do it. And when you do that, that's when you're talking to God, right? You don't have to, and people, I was talking to Colonel Sanders, and, I said, do you pray? Oh, I pray all the time. So what do you pray? I ask for stuff. Well, no. Prayer is a grace, right? When you pray, you're in grace. What is grace? That's a temperament of understanding of generosity, right? And the basis of the Islamic religion is hospitality, right? The basis of Christianity is unconditional forgiveness, right? So, do either of those two religions manifest those? Well, I would say Islam does a better job than Christianity because I don't see too many Christians forgiving. I'm going to come to protect myself. Well, you're a Christian. I'm a Christian. Oh yes, I'm a sinner. Yes. So you're a sinner and you're a Christian. And Christ, Christianity is about Christ, and Christ was about forgiveness. Oh, I can't do that. I can't do that. I have to shoot you. I have to say that you do bad things. It's your fault. You intimidate me. Your sweet little Sensei Bob intimidates you. Old guy can barely walk, see, or breathe. But I can talk to God because no matter what you do, I forgive you, right? I'm there to forgive you, right? Because I don't want all the bad thoughts in my mind. I'm a human being. I could go down that path, but I don't. Now, if I start to stray in that asshole, blah 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 blah. No, I go, oops, oops, what am I doing? No, 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 no. I'm going to, not only am I going to forgive, I'm going to try to understand. Right? And if I know my 360, I can see the moron up there, so I just don't get in their way, right? Because they're already committed to being upset and anxious and blaming whatever they can because they don't want to blame themselves. They don't want to. I mean, when anything goes down, I first look at myself. What was I doing? Did I have anything to do with this? How did I? And if I do, I pursue to understand my motivations and how I did X, Y, and Z. Right. And that's a way to live your life in love's co-creation, not blaming others, right? Not seeking out revenge or anger or any of the above, right? So you look on the YouTube, it's there just to just to distract, right? To let you not even be able to understand, right? All of this Ukraine war thing, Joe Biden final warning to Russia who refuses to fight, Putin lost his mind. I mean, for what Putin does, yeah, he'd have to have lost his mind unless he's reading a script. All this is scripted. You look at all of his story. Let's see what's Jimmy Dore. I love this guy. And that's he's screaming in his own head. He can't even hear himself think, right? But let's see what Jimmy has to say.
There's one guy that came to us at over 400 pounds. He was a big boy, and there was this lady in his life that he was always.
So China is willing to go and invest in countries and wait 20 to 30 years. The European Union was not willing to do that with Greece. They went in and just smacked them with austerity. That's what the IMF does. That's what the United States does, and then or the United States also blows you up. Let's go. Here's what Jay Buffon says. He says, "Who's the United States to decide what is good for Africa? Isn't that for Africa to decide?" This is like an abusive boyfriend complaining about his girlfriend's new guy friend that helps her with moving stuff and other innocuous things, but he feels threatened that he actually helps her. That's right. This is the United States. Hey, we're supposed to come over and beat the shit out of that girl. Why are you buying her nice things and taking her out to dinner?
You're trying to get soft power.
Try to get soft power with her. So that's the effect of propaganda, and I'm not hating on that woman. I'm just pointing out that she doesn't know she's being propagandized.
Yes, So Jimmy's right on about most things he says, but again, it's almost irrelevant because all of what we're seeing in world events, right, are just a reflection of what our life is. I mean, everyone who's coming here like droves now. Before like 10 years ago, I've been here 20 years. I got here before anybody. It was nobody here, right? And it was great. And I thought I was safe. I thought because I'm 30 miles to the nearest Walmart's, no one's coming, right? Well, 10 years ago, so that would have been, let's see, 2000. Right now it's 2023. So 2013. Yeah, yeah, right about then. About a year or two before I died. So I was, I bought this place in '03, give or take, maybe, yeah, '03, I think, 3 or 4. And I cleared the little, I found my excavator. We started fooling around, and he took it real slow because he was just hiding away, right? So that was fine. And I had no idea what I wanted to do because it was bottom of the Googie Bog, and so we made a little place to put because I had another chunk of property in Tennessee on top of the mountains. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful place called Flag Pond. And I wasn't in Flag Pond per se. I was almost right on. I was more in Madison County, North Carolina, but I was like right on the edge of Tennessee. It was called Bloody Madison, like because I had a Madison, Tennessee, and a Madison, North Carolina, and so anyway, I got up there because I was sent up there by USGA because they wanted to build I-26, make the highway, right? Because it was like this little hollow road. So they turned it into a 4-lane gigantic. So they'd chop out a mountain and all that. Well, they were scared to go up there without understanding what because every time they tried to do it, the Shine folk and the Bud folk and the Holler folk would just, go attack the feds and kill them. So it's like going into Afghanistan, right? So they sent me, right? And so I went, and there was only like this come off the thing and go "Whoa," up this snaky road to the end. And there was a gas station up there, general store. And I just hung out there. It had a nice little holler restaurant. You get a cheeseburger, cup of coffee, milkshake, whatever you want. It was pretty good. Nice French fries, good onion rings. And breakfast too. They had a pretty good omelet, and they had what I liked the best. They had frying pan biscuits. Right. So I was up there, and I just kind of stayed up there and slept in my car, and got up with the sun and had breakfast, and wrote things and read stuff. And after being there about 4 or 5 days, this guy came up to me. Hey, the boss wants to see you. So okay. So I go out there, get in my car. I said, no, no, take our car. So I get in the car, and the windows are blacked out. I can't see anything. So you got to put the bag over my head. They said, "What, do you need it?" I said, no, no. Okay. We drive and 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 drive. Finally get, and I can't see where we're going. And we get there, and you know, I pull up and they open the door, and it's really nice spread. I mean, big farm, racehorses, all kinds of animals, big farm, tractors everywhere. Really nice, high end, beautiful house, big, gigantic log cabin. And they take me out towards the back of the log cabin, and there's a golf green there, right? And there's a nice patio, and this guy is sitting there in a nice pair of linen pants and a nice shirt, and he's reading a newspaper. He's got a couple of newspapers in front of him, and it's a beautiful day. And there's this little tray of nice little holler things to eat, and he's got a nice urn of coffee and tea. I say, what do you want, tea or coffee? I said, I'll take coffee. Sit down, right? And he has some. He says, here, try this, and he pushes this in front of me, and it's what the Holler folk would call whiskey, which is it's the best part of the stew that has been percolating on the stove all week long. It's like really, and he's got some really nice honey biscuits, and dipping them in there, and I think it's, and I'm slapping on some butter and putting them into the, and I go, boy, this is good whiskey, man. And he kind of smiles and he goes, so the Fed sent you up to talk to me. I said, I don't even know who you are. He goes, okay, you're a good diplomat. And I said, yes, I'm up here because you definitely know that they're going to build a highway up here, and they don't want to do it until, you know, and I'm expendable, so they sent me up here, and I'm a good negotiator, so they sent me up here, and I'm a good spy, so they sent me up here, right? And they said, and you're a good diplomat because you're telling me all the truth, or as far as you want to. I said, yep. So he goes, okay, so that's great. So do you have all the specs and stuff? I said, yeah, I'm in the car. Right? And he said, that's okay. They're driving it up here now. I said, but I have the car keys. He said, it doesn't matter. We talk about this, that, and the other thing. And I know enough. And so I said, yeah, okay. So without the paperwork, I'll tell you what they're doing. At this fork, they're going to come straight. They're going to wipe out this side of the mountain, and just take it straight over to Irwin. Go that 25 miles, straightest line, right? And it's as far away from you as they think you are, right? He goes, okay. And he goes, well, have they done any, geologic drilling? And I said, well, I have to get the okay from you for them to do it. And he goes, well, we have already done that, and really, they don't want to do it there because that part of the mountain won't support that kind of highway. I said, oh, well, that's good. Good to know. He goes, where should it be? He goes, well, a little bit over here and over there. I said, okay. As soon as the stuff, we'll draw it on the map and I'll show it to the boys. Like a good idea. So he goes, well, they won't be here for at least an hour or so. So let me show you around. So he shows a really great spread, everything really beautiful. And it's kind of March. It's not really spring yet, still snow because we're up in the hills. And so he's telling, I'm telling stories about me, and he's telling me stories about this neck of the woods, and I know a good deal about it. He goes, what do you know about this place? I said, well, this is Bloody Madison. This has been, Scottish neck of the woods and Irish neck of the woods, and you guys have been fighting forever. And the Cherokee were in the middle making money, and then the French were here, and then the English were here, and but you've been here forever, as much as the Indians. Well, not as much, but almost. And what else did I say to him? A few other things. And I said, so, and you have been running this business, before the mob, and you have sent your product everywhere, right? So he's kind of, well, you know what you're talking about. So anyway, and he's got these nice little patios with nice little tables that guys in white coats are constantly coming by and putting cocktails or coffee or cupcakes or whatever. And we just walk around and sit down and have a little more coffee, a little more tea, a little more this, a little more that, right? He goes, you smoke boo? I said, sure, but on my lungs are. I said, well, we got this other stuff. And he whispers some guy, and this guy brings these really, really amazing kind of maple sugar cookies. One is like, yeah, I feel pretty good. And so he has a whole market of edibles. And so, basically he's just showing me his product. And some of his products are prize cows that he sells. Some are race horses. And we get to this one place, and he's got this kind of almost industrial age place, like, fixing cars, fixing tractors, fixing this, fixing that. And they're building a trebuchet. And I said, what's that? He goes, don't you know what that is? Yeah, it's a trebuchet. But that's like, a 14th and not 8th century artillery device. He goes, yeah, that's what it is. And he goes, well, it's for the big festival. I said, festival? Yes. He goes, it's called the Spring Fling. All of us, there's about 8 families up here. And we, instead of competing like we used to compete with cars, that's what NASCAR is. And then it became NASCAR, so we couldn't do that anymore. So what we do now is we all buy a Massey Ferguson 1020, like it's a big commercial industrial tractor, and we build a trebuchet over the winter, and then we throw it, and we all chip in 50 grand for this big party, and we have it out. We have this kind of place between the five families, which is like our, you know, UN. Everything's peace and love and a good time there, and we have a big party in the spring. And the only thing we compete with, we don't compete any other way. I mean, the women compete with a lot of things, but us men, we work all winter and make these trebuchets, and then we throw the tractor. And whoever can throw the tractor with a trebuchet the furthest went to the pot, and it's 5 times 50 grand, and so that's a nice chunk of change, and it's cash, right? So that's a spring fling. And so anyway, we're talking, and so he shows me the trebuchet. Oh, and we talk about trebuchets, we talk about this, we talk about that. I ask about things that go bump in the night. He tells me stories. Then my stuff shows up, and we roll up the maps, and you know, he shows me where he thinks it should go, and I kind of put the dotted red lines, and he gives his geological report from where they want to go, and also the place that he showed me, right? And I go, he goes, well, it's Friday. I want you to spend a weekend. You're kind of interesting. And we're gonna have a cookout tonight, a little dance tomorrow, and Sunday we're gonna have fellowship. I said, great, sounds great. So I spend that, and then Monday comes around. He goes, I'm gonna go over to this little project we're doing, and after talking to all this, all this stuff about industrial stuff and electricity stuff and Tesla stuff. Why don't you come over and take a look at what we're doing? So I go, fine. So we go over there, and he is like, got all he's, basically hardening his product manufacturing in a way that it's underground, because it's a gigantic cave from the old days. And I mean, the old days of like way, way, way old days. People who were here before the Indians, right? People who were like 14 feet tall, people, and we don't know where they came from. And then they left that big facility there. And then other people took over the facility and ran it, but didn't know how to use it all. And then, they left, and then other people, and then other people, and then the Indians, and then white Europeans before the British came, right? And Norwegians and Vikings and things of that nature. And then but Chris never got up there. And so he's telling me stories, and so so we stay up there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then we come back Thursday, and then he goes, so um, we're going to put your car. We gave you your stuff, but your car is on a trailer. I mean, we trailed. That's how we didn't break into. I mean, we broke into your car, but we didn't drive it up here. We towed it and we put it on a trailer, right? So Bob's gonna take you down the hill, and your vehicle's gonna be on the trailer, and we'll take you down to the gas station, and then you'll know how to get here, and we're seeing you as family, right? So we trust you. I said, and he doesn't have to say, you better not, diss our trust, right? No, I would never do that, because again, it goes to the fact that then I'd have to worry about shit, because man, I mean, Colonel Sanders and Grandpa Cockroach, you know, it's like, please, compared to those guys, you'd never see it coming. And they had their own. They had their own drones. They had their own Reaper back in 1994, when that was, whenever that was. It was in the early 90s. And so, anyway, um, so, and those guys are okay. Inside them is an okay place. They're so traumatized. Grandpa Cockroach. I mean, so that is a patronizing thing to call someone Grandpa Cockroach, but he is. He's got such an exoskeleton like a cockroach has, that but inside he's gooey. I'm a Christian, but I want to be told what to do by God. Well, God's never going to tell you what to do, but you can feel God's unconditional love and let that love take you forth, right? So that's what it's about. So when you let love lead your path and not ego or avarice or ignorance or fear or self-loathing, and these are all the uh, mechanisms that the powers that shouldn't be do. Hail Hydra, uh, you know. And but you're the decider. You get to choose what you want to do. Now, acquiescing to any of those things, fear, self-loathing, anger, all of those things, acquiescing to them is not an excuse because you are allowing it to happen. Right? Yes, it's difficult to put yourself in a position where you're not you know stressed out or put into a place of that, right? And that's why people self-medicate. That's why Colonel Sanders drinks $10 of cheap alcohol every day. You know, times 360. That's 3,600 bucks, right? And he has spent a whole friggin' year scraping together $200 to pay me for the fun wagon, right? I let him use it and let him take care of it, and well, I could have rented it out and made a lot more money, but it's just what it is, right? And it gives me. I don't want to get too close to those guys, so I don't. I don't like go. Used to be part of the. It's the first guy they met, so they and they kept. Do you have this? Can we borrow that? Can you fix this for us? I mean, he took all the light switches out, and then none of the lights work. And when he tried to do it himself, he was cross wiring things and blowing shit up. It was like when the Three Stooges went into a rich person's house to be contractors, and they were fooling around with the plumbing and the wiring and the this and the that, and so one guy, turns a light switch on, and water comes out of the ceiling fan. So anyway, so I was, a good neighbor. And then at a certain point, they went to the tweakers because I constantly talked to them into with my shamanic sense, and had them look at what they were doing. Why did they come here? What were they running away from? What did they need to deal with inside themselves rather than externalize everything and blame other people? So, so they really only come to me when they really need something, want something, and they want to buy my property like for nothing. And I'm saying, oh, we'll give you $5,000. I said, no, I want 120. Right? What? What are you nuts? You want to pay it, you don't have to buy it. But otherwise, why should I leave? Well, you're intimidating me. Really? And so they, he did this, he did that, he's terrible. Oh my God. But I've been here 20 years, so people around here, oh no, no, sorry. Who are you? How long you been here? Where'd you come from? You're intimidating me. And so you can live that kind of life, or you can have a life that's a life. Love's co-creation. It's up to you. You're the decider. God's not going to tell you what to do. You know. Let's see. Ooh, doo, 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 doo. Okie dokie. Let's hit the old. Boo, 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 boo. Okay, let's see. Let's see if Mr. Magic is around. I should get a signal up here.
Please leave your message for
No,
6 4.
no, not going to do it. Not going to do it. Let's see. Who else is here? Let's see if the lucky guy is here. Boop, boop, boop. Oh, who else? Who else? Who else? Who else? No. Cool man. Okay. Ooh. Let's reach out to John Boy. Let's see what John Boy is up to. Let's see. Before we call him, let's see what he got on his channel. What strangeness has he got going on? So, did you watch yesterday's show from Thailand? Oh, 24 views. So let's have some comments on this stuff. I leave you something, let's get a little something back. At least maybe some chatting. Ask me a question. What's happening? What should I do about this? That's what I'm here for. No one takes advantage of it. So the last few shows, are things weird or is they all right? The all knowing, bang bang, duck duck, born again, happy everything, Easter Sunday. So anyway, the man is a doctor who is an MD and also a whatever you call those guys who adjusted you. Not a chiropractor, but another adjusting person, muscle type. First person, the co-creator of Love's who had Johnny Boy. 3 days ago. Ooh, look at that picture. What little part of his anatomy is he soaping up right now? He looks like he's having some fun. Yeah. Let's see what our boy has to say. Hey, look at John. He is just having a good time.
Hey, I'm gonna take a shower and I'm gonna do some sit-ups first. I don't want to look fat as shit. Fat as shit. All everything's good. Yay! Everything's okay for our lives. Yay!
I mean, yes. Let's see what else he's been up to. Oh, here's the one. This video contains content from SME who has blocked it in your country on copyright grounds. Okay. Shouldn't have done that, John.
Hi, this is John Birmingham, and these are my two sons, Rowan and Ivan. Here's Ivan. He's only 13. I got him these California and Venice Beach shirts at Venice Beach. I brought him to their house. So he's wearing one of those shirts. And here's Rowan. You're actually Slayer shirt on. Somehow he ended up listening to the same kind of music I did. I wasn't that into Slayer.
So, Don't Hurt Me No More. That's what John was playing. So, 37 minutes, 18 seconds. Let's see, who else we got to talk to? Let's see. This is one of my adepts. Ringy dingy ding. Oh, there she is. How you doing, girl? Oh, I'm in the deep green, and where it's gonna do something. Gonna be sunny or rainy or stormy or something. But so far, it's been quite nice. Since Easter, I've had a really great time. So I'm doing a live chat now, and I was reaching out to see if I could have a guest. Do you want to be a guest? Okay, so we're going to put you on speakerphone here. Hello there, guest, and this is here on Dreamy Dreamland with Sensible Bob. And our guest is a very interesting person because she has just moved from point A to point B, and she actually has a perspective that most people don't have. Right? Wouldn't you say that in your little move, you're starting to have insights that you weren't quite having until you took this move, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
What? So tell us what you're seeing in your new place from your old place, and how is it enabling you to move forward?
There's a lot more greenery. I was in Southern California, so it's a
Dry,
desert.
right.
So I'm happy to be around all of the trees and the green grass and bushes and everything again. The air is cleaner, and I'm starting my garden. So
There you go.
I have a garden in the last house, so that's now my new hobby and helping me to be productive.
Are you going to have raised beds or in the dirt?
Both.
Oh, good. Both is good. You need to get yourself a really nice big hat, right? And a kind of almost thing that goes around the back of your neck and covers your chest.
Oh yeah.
Because the sun is going to be like, it's already nuts. So
Well, the UV rays also flare up my lupus. So.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, so you're really almost gonna have a spacesuit to go out there.
If I'm going to be out there for a while, yeah.
And/or you know what might be interesting is, because I'm very sensitive to the sun on my eyes, you name it, my skin. I'm your Nordic, German, Irish guy.
Yeah.
Even and I have Italian, but that's in a different part of me. My skin and looks. All my brothers and sisters got the curly hair, the dark eyes, and they look Italian. Not me. I got super straight hair, whiter than white, blue eyes. So when I was Mr. Garden Boy in the city, not out in the country in the farmlands, but I I found somebody threw away a beach umbrella, right? And when I would work in the garden, I would put the umbrella in the ground and I'd work in the shadow of that umbrella.
Oh, okay.
And that really worked good because I wasn't constrained by a spacesuit, but I was definitely protected from the direct sun and UV. Now there's lots of bounce and stuff, but and there are some really good sunblocks that, especially with someone like you, you might ask your doctor, since you got lupus and you told us you have, and that UV affects you. You might ask them, hey, is there any kind of sunscreen that would really be good for what I got?
Yeah, I got some like really SPF protecting ones,
Right,
like
right,
I
right,
got a
right.
75 one and a 100.
Right. And it does both of the UVs.
Yep.
Right. Okay, so a beach umbrella and goop yourself up good. You should be no problem, especially with a raised bed. You know, because then you're even more kind of protected as such.
Yeah.
So what are you putting in the ground and what you're going to do in your res bed?
In the raised bed, I'm gonna put carrots, and I'm not sure what else at the moment. I haven't even put the
Tomatoes
raised
do
bed
pretty
together.
good in raised beds,
Yeah.
especially if there's a trellis that you can attach as the tomatoes grow up. They want to go someplace, and if you got a trellis on your raised bed, that works out pretty good.
Yeah. The zucchinis I have, I'm gonna put in the ground.
Right. Yeah. Anything of that nature: onions, zucchinis, cabbage, squash.
Oh, I was thinking about putting the onions in the raised beds as well.
Well,
Next to carrots.
they'll grow in there too, but they're because onions. Well, you could do a raised bed anytime, but onions like it. They should be. They almost are harvestable now.
Yeah.
But you weren't there now, so. But they'll grow up nice. Anything you grow from this point on, it'll do great.
Yeah, I've got a bunch of little sprouts already going, and they're doing pretty good.
Have you ever sprouted in a bucket? So you can harvest it all you get the little teeny sprouts, and you put it in like a food grade bucket, and you put a screen over the top with a rubber band, and you put just like a spoonful of sprouts in there, right? And then you put water in there, and you let the water run your faucet for a good bit, so all the crap, whatever in the pipe, is already flushing it out. Then you cover the sprouts with water, you swoosh it around a little bit, you leave it in there for about an hour, and then because you got the screen on top, you just dump the water out, and the sprouts are all wet. You hit the screen so they fall to the bottom of the thing. Within 4 days, you will have that, and that food grade bucket is like 5 gallons. You'll have 5 gallons of sprouts.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's like magic, and you can do that anywhere. When I was on the BOP, I was Mr. Hobo riding the rails. I had a bucket, and I would carry my stuff around in a bucket. And then when I set up camp, I would have the bucket, and I would have just like a pound of sprout seeds, and that would last me 2 or 3 months, and it was amazing because you would get all these super green, super healthy, super fresh sprouts like within 3 days. So give that an experiment. Go online, go to YouTube, see how to sprout. Let's see what. So do you have a green thumb? Have you had a garden before?
When I was a kid, my father had a on the side of the house, so I used to help him with that. But as I've gotten older, and I don't remember most of the stuff. I had a pretty brown thumb, but I've been learning a lot more about how to take care of all of the plants well and what to do and what not to do. So I'm growing my green thumb.
Yeah. It's practice makes perfect.
Yeah.
Some people really do have are magically good at it, but they started young and they keep doing it, so that's why they're as amazingly good at it. So
Yeah.
um, and we garden in New York because we had no food anywhere else. We were like 20 blocks to the nearest store, so we grew our own food. So that's where I picked up my gardening chops, and also in Vermont when I was in an ashram, we had a nice big garden. So I got mine. But it's just conscious intent, really. If you have your intent on what you're doing, most people don't, and it's kind of magically certain. If you get stuff in and it's sprouting and it's growing, you don't have to overly get. It'll do its thing. That's what I love about it. I have a garden here, and and different soils do different things. So where I live, it really loves to grow beans. I put them in, and I don't even, I have a hose over there that I can turn on, and it waters them every now and then, and it just grows. I don't, and I have the fence around it to protect them. All the beans kind of grow on the fence, so I just have to walk around on the outside of the fence and pick the beans. I don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
But everything else, not so much. Like, forget tomatoes; they don't want to do it here. Onions, if I do everything right, they'll be okay. Potatoes, the same thing. If I do everything right, they will be okay. But they take too much. The beans just do it. It's like amazing. So, and I will probably not even have to do anything, and there will be plants that are still in my garden that will grow. I won't.
Yeah.
I won't even have to do anything. So that's where I'm at with gardening. I'm because it's just me, and I'm an Aquarian. I'm down for doing anything if I'm doing it with somebody else.
Oh yeah.
Me by myself, and not so much. So reading and writing is what I do by myself. Everything else I like doing with other people. So
Yeah.
so and your lungs feeling good these days?
They do feel a bit better. I'm still having problems,
Right.
but
Well, come on, you
don't
know
worry.
you're going to keep having problems but as long as you're getting a little bit better right now, and keep it moving forward in that direction, within 2 years, you'll be a new girl.
Yes, hopefully.
No, not hopefully. You will be a new girl. I mean, that's what conscious intent is. Meaning, in that Star Wars movie when Yoda gets Luke to just lift the starfighter out of the river. Oh, son, I can't do that. It's too hard. Go ahead. I'll try. And Yoda goes, don't try, do. And so, you know, Luke tries it, and it kind of budges, and it lifts an inch or two, and then falls back into the goo even deeper. And Luke goes, "Oh, it was so hard. Why'd you make me try and do that?" And then Yoda says, "Get out of my way." And he just like closes his eyes, takes two fingers, and the sucker lifts up, floats across the lake, lands it, and it shakes itself, and all the goo is out, and it's ready to fly. Right. So that's doing instead of whining. Oh, So you are doing, like you just said. Yes, I can feel that I am better. Right. And you don't have to put a category on it or put a number on it. As long as you're just feeling better, moving forward, feeling better and better and better. And like I said, in 2 years, you'll be a new girl.
Yeah.
Because you didn't start out this way. You kind of became this way. And so you can become something new. I'm not new, better, something where you won't be restrained by your body.
Yes.
So that's where you're at. So what do you read these days?
I'm not reading anything at the moment. I've thrown myself into the gardening thing.
Right.
Super.
Well,
I just threw myself into it.
Yeah, this is the time to do it. So
Yep.
So go for it. Yeah. But you do have all that stuff I sent you, and you don't have to read it all at once. You can read a paragraph or two every now and then.
Yeah, I started reading that the other day.
Which one?
I started on the first one.
Death.
Yes.
So the beauty of all of those, you could read any one as the first one. You know,
hmm
they're all kind of interconnected. How far into death did you get?
It didn't say like the page number on the Google Docs, so I think I got
Oh, really?
yeah, probably 4 or 5 pages in.
Okay. Because on me writing the thing, I have a title on the page. I'm surprised it didn't. Yeah, and it's not somewhere else in there because there's the name of it and all that stuff on the bumper of the dashboard of my laptop. But on each page there's the document and a page number, and so that doesn't show up.
I didn't see it.
Huh? Should be at the top. Anyway,
Kind of just looked like one really long page.
one long thing.
Yeah.
Well, each of these things, is at least 120 or 30 pages. Some are three. One is 300, one is 222, and the other three are 170 to 210.
Oh wow. Okay.
So I mean, they're all books. They're all novels, and they and because it's a series, there's 5 of them. And I'm still writing them. What I sent you is like a work in progress, right? So it's you know I'm still, and like I'm actually, so I've been working on them since I sent you those, and I'm gonna switch them around. I'm gonna take a legacy and make that number 1.
Okay.
And so, but like I said, I may change it again before it probably will take me a good 6 months to a year to get everything. Okay, it's ready to be edited. Somebody else take it from me and do something with it, right?
Yeah.
And I'm giving it to you to read because I want little. So you read maybe 4 or 5 pages. What did you get from that? What did it make you feel? Did it do anything for you? What? Oh boy, this is weird. Or oh wow, this is cool. Or what did you think?
It was super interesting, and I really enjoyed it so far.
Right.
It gets a little hard to read in certain points, but it's not like impossible to read in those points. It just gets like a little harder to read.
And
I think
I did that. I made it what would consider as dense. Would you think that's a good way to explain why it's difficult? It's like dense or thick or
yeah, in certain parts. So some parts are like really light and really easy to read,
Right,
and then
right.
there's a couple of parts that were a little bit more dense.
right. And I do that because I want you to think.
Yeah.
The light and easy parts that are fun, you can kind of zip right through that. It's affecting you. You're thinking about stuff, but when it slows you way down, and you might even have to read it 2 or 3 times, that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
Is to get you to do that. So that's why it does that. And that's kind of all through all of these. There is, maybe 20 to 15% of everything is for a reason slows you down, right? And I also do the thing where I drop the fourth wall, where I step into the reader, say, "Hey, reader, what are you thinking about this, that, and the other?" Like I make it really personal to the reader, right? Did I do any of that in the 4 or 5 pages that I sent you?
A little bit. There, if I get deeper into it, it'll probably feel more.
More of that, yes. Well, okay. So what's really kind of are you thinking about? What is affecting? So you're gardening, right? So is that your major thing you're thinking about, or is other things kind of percolating through you?
Yeah, that's the major one I got on my brain at the moment.
Well, that's good. It's good to be that kind of consciously focused, right? So that's good. That's good.
Yeah, it's helping me be happier, you
Yeah,
know?
exactly. Because you're not being distracted by stupid crap that really doesn't matter.
And then also, like, I'm really excited to have my own food that I've grown.
Yes, 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 yes.
There's a lot of hard work that I'm doing at the moment, though. I have to, like, remove all of the grass in the backyard
Yep, yep,
where
yep.
I'm putting the in-ground garden, and it kind of sucks.
Well, you know, and that's the beauty of a raised bed is that you don't have to do that.
Yeah, but I wanted to do both.
Okay, well, again, experiential, not a problem. You'll be
Yeah.
able to see which works better, which you like doing better, and I would say, oh, so you're a lot younger than I am, so you're going to have to almost right now. What you're doing, you're going to have so much better food than whatever you could buy in a store, right? But
Yep.
if and do that googly thing, um I mean the YouTube thing about the sprouts in the food buckets, and getting 5 gallons of sprouts every 4 or 5 days. That would be the best singular food you could eat because you could truly control the environment it grows in, whereas the garden that you're making, and this will be a good thing for you to see. Yes, the food you're making will be so much better than the crap you buy at a supermarket, but still, because of the air, the water, the ground that it's in, it's still compromised, right?
Yeah, I know.
And
There's
and
not
that's
too much
why a
I can
raised
do.
bed, when you got a raised bed, it's about four. Even though you're doing it outside, it's still like 40% better than having to deal with whatever that earth is, right? Because you can really control what your earth is. All right, are you going to start composting?
I would very much like to, yes.
Okay, so you guys got a house. Get yourself a bucket and everything that's compostable, throw in the bucket.
Yep, and then mix it up,
Yep,
get it aerated
yep, yep,
every,
yep.
what is it, like every 2 weeks maybe?
Yeah, yeah. And you can do it. You can go get yourself a little. They have it almost looks like a cement mixer, and you throw it in there, and that's a good thing because it keeps the critters from getting at it, right?
Yeah.
And I'm so lazy. When I was had a really nice garden, I was doing it. My compost pile was at the bottom of my deck where my kitchen was, and I would just throw it out up the deck down there. And the animals would come and eat it and roll around in it and shit in it. And they were doing everything you'd have to do if you had, so I never had to go down there and turn it. So every year, and I had all my herbs growing down there, right? And and where I had a path, I would pick the herbs, but in the fall, I'd let the fall happen, and then I go in with my weed whacker and just rake up all the herbs, right? And then I would take my compost pile and I'd rake that all up, put it in a wheelbarrow, and take it over to my where my garden was, and put it over in a corner that was more protected. And so in the spring, I would turn that over, and whatever looked like, oh, I could spread this on the garden, I would. Whatever I didn't, I had the two-stage kind of, and that was the laziest man kind of compost. So it worked. It did what it did. But I have friends, rocket scientists of compost, and they look at my thing and just like roll their eyes. And I'm an Aquarian. That's how I do things. I mean, it works. Why should I work any harder, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, you will find that thing that floats your boat, and that's the way you do it. Not the way I do it, not the way the anal retentive person would do it, or anybody else. And YouTube is so great because there's so many people doing so many things. They can see them all doing their thing. You know what I mean? And then you can pick out how you can be informed by it. And so this is going to be really great for you because you're just starting out. And again, it's a work in progress. You're not going to be super duper. You'll get a nice garden, but each year it'll get better. And as each year goes by and your garden gets better, you will be getting better too. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So at some time there's a new. It's not even new. I did this back with this guy in the '70s, where we totally controlled the environment. His parents had greenhouses, commercial greenhouses for flowers before they came from South America. So they had probably 20 or 30 acres under greenhouse. So they died in a car crash, and he was left that, and we turned it into a total organic garden, meaning everything about it was controlled. I mean, what the dirt was, what the water went on to the plants, the air, everything. And the difference was mind frigging boggling.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm trying to do. I'm my soil in the backyard is pretty dense and clay-like.
Yes.
So I'm gonna add a bunch of stuff to it to make it.
Well,
good for the garden.
if it's dense, and again, you should go, do YouTube. I have dense clay like earth. What should I do? And from my
Yep.
experience, that kind of earth, and I've been in a lot of different places. I've built a lot of gardens that have that. That is great as the foundation, and you should not really use that as the dirt you grow things in. But it should be. Um, and what you do is, you ever see those kind of drainage pipes that come off the gutters, right? And they're black, and there's like a hose from about 3 inches in diameter, right? Anyway, they have that at Lowe's, and they have that same kind of pipe that has holes in it, right? And so if you were to um, dig a little ditch and put these pipes in there and put stone and put they have this netting that goes around it so the dirt doesn't get in the holes, and then you put like bluestone around it. That's called a French drain. And so if you dig two little ditches in the clay, and they kind of go someplace away from your garden, and then you start building your earth on top of the clay, and just go buy some bags of topsoil, organic topsoil.
Yep, I've got some of those already.
Right. So, but don't try to use the clay um, as the thing you're going to grow your vegetables in.
Well, I was going to dig up a lot of the clay and mix in some garden gypsum, and
Again, that would be great. Again, as your foundation. I mean, and you wouldn't have to go nuts on digging up your clay. I mean, you're right. Hit it with a pick all over the place, and then turn it over with a little forked hoe, and then add the gypsum. Again, that would be a great drainage thing. But the dirt that you grow the stuff in, topsoil, 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 right? And compost, compost, compost. And it'll take you 2 or 3 years to really get good dirt. And go get some earthworms too. Go
Yep.
up, see wherever they fell live earthworms for um, fishing, and throw them in there, see how they do. And pretty much use the next 2 or 3 years as your experiment. See
Yeah.
what works and what doesn't. And that's and put that in your mind. This is experimentation time. And yes, I'll get a pretty good yield out of this or that, but you'll see what works and what doesn't, and what makes you feel good, and all of the best. And I would say by number 3 year, that part of your garden will be in pretty good shape, and it'll be a good, especially since you have raised beds, and your raised beds can be as high as you want them. You can put them at waist height, so you don't have to bend over and hurt your back.
Yeah, those ones are just kind of expensive.
I mean, there's all again. It's amazing what's on YouTube.
Yeah.
I mean, because you can go to a dump and get pallets, right? And I did that one time. I got like 20 pallets, and and they were per kite. So I used the pallets as the legs of it, and then I used the pallets as the floor of it, right? And then I covered the pallets with that kind of garden. It's a plasticky netting that's very strong, and I stapled it on top of the pallet, and then I put some. They had like pretty thick plastic that had holes in it, and I put that over that, and then I put dirt on that. And instead of spending like $400 on lumber, I spent about $12. Because it cost me, I think, $1 a pallet, so maybe $20. So I mean, like YouTube is pretty amazing. They can really show you. You can get a lot of information, and I would do my homework on that. But you can do that. I mean, there are a lot of ways to doing it. It may not look pretty, but it's a good way to experiment and see what works. And
Yeah, I'm not too worried about it looking pretty.
right. So there are all these ways of doing it that really kind of work out. I mean, the first time I used the pallets was in New York, and there was a zillion pallets just thrown away. We just drove around and picked up pallets and did that.
Yeah.
We built buildings with pallets. I mean, we would go into buildings that had burnt out floors, and the beams were still in pretty good shape. So we would just take these pallets and cover the floor with the pallets, and then we'd take crappy wood and put it on top of the pallets, and you'd have a really sturdy um, floor that could support a lot. So anyway, that's there's like I said, the YouTube has amazing amount of information, and you've got a lot of time. So those two things will come together, and you will be the gardening Swami Mommy.
Hell yeah.
By the time you're 25, you'll be the gardening Swami Mommy.
That's a year and a half.
Yeah. I mean, you can always get better from being Swami Mommy.
Yes.
So what else is floating your boat?
We have a lot of neighborhood animals that have been coming over.
Oh, what kind?
We have this big black dog who is now my best friend.
What kind is he?
I don't know, but he looks pretty underweight, so I've been feeding him for the past couple of days.
Well, he'll be your friend then.
Yeah. And then we have a neighborhood cat who's really fluffy, and she also was pretty underweight, but we've been feeding her for the past few weeks since we moved. So she's been hanging around every day.
Right. Yeah.
All the neighbors said that she kind of claimed this house before we moved in. So she was like always around here.
Okay. You got yourself a cat. You got an outside cat. Outside cats are great. I have an outside cat.
Yeah, she's a sweetheart too.
Right. My outside cat is a feral cat, and I think she might have Bob. I mean, she's a big cat. She's like, so she don't let anybody get close. I mean, like pick her up or touch her. And it's interesting because it's a generational thing. 5 years ago, this cat showed up and had kittens under one of my sheds, and I didn't shake it away. And once it had kittens, and because she was really good at, I had no idea that she was there until the kittens started mewing and running around, and I'd leave a bowl of milk for them, and so that was good. But that was about it, right? And then fall, everybody left, right? Next spring, another female cat and had kittens. So that's happened 5 years in a row. Not the same mama cat either. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. So they do a really good job at keeping the mice and the voles and all those guys down. So I don't even have to feed them,
Well, that's good.
Yeah, so they do a pretty good job at that. So anyway, that's I'm a real laissez-faire guy. I do what needs to be done, but nothing more.
Yeah.
It seems safer and wiser to go that way. Right? So what else? What other animals? You got deer? Do you got bear? What do you got there?
Well, we're not too very far out into the wilderness.
Okay, you're not too rural.
Yeah, we're in a neighborhood, so we've got a nice tree line next to our property, though, and it kind of looks like our property is one of the biggest ones in the neighborhood.
Right. That's good.
Yeah, we've seen this younger cat come around. He's come around a couple times.
Right.
My mom did almost hit a deer on the highway, though.
You gotta watch out for that.
Yeah.
You gotta have your 360 going.
Yep.
And because and the other thing is, all the tweakers who are moving in here, they speed around like, I mean, these are dangerous roads. I've been here 20 years. So it says 40 miles an hour for a reason, right? And most of the time it's 15 and 20 because there's tons of curves. And I mean, this is a Sawtooth Mountain Range, so it's like there are no straight roads here. And these guys go 60 miles down a hill into a sharp turn, and if you don't quite make it, you're either going to go head on into a tractor trailer or off into the woods.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of that. So or hit a lot of deer. So I just do the speed limit. I go 40, I go 15, I go 20, and you can see that when you're doing 40, you can see that deer. So you slow down to 5. So if it does jump out in front of your car, you can stop.
Yeah.
So just got to keep your eyes open. So okay, so you're getting to be gardening Swami Mommy. You're gardening Swami Mommy in training, and so good. You got something to be passionate about, and have a full on response to you. It's not something like that. It's blank. It's like you do this, this will occur.
Yep.
And that'll be good for you. So, okay, I'm gonna go because it's starting to rain, and I'm about done with the battery power here. And I hate having my YouTube just click off because the battery died, because then it takes twice as long to put itself up. So, have you been watching any of the YouTubes? No.
Yeah, I've been learning about
No, but not any of the Dreamy Dreamland ones. None of mine.
Oh, I have not lately.
Right. Okay, that's cool. There's a zillion of them there for you, and they're not going anywhere. But anyway, I'm just gonna say, arrivederci till next time. It's good to hear your voice. You sound really much, unbelievably much better than you sounded in your California digs.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. Your energy is so much better because you were barely breathing when I talked to you in California.
Oh yeah, it started getting really bad.
Yeah. Okay, bud. I'll catch you later.
All right. Have a good day.
Yeah, good talking to you. Oh, that's one of the cadre. And so she's changing her life. Right? And she really, she was on, I don't want to say death's door, but she was, so you didn't hear any of that. Let's see. Hey, Token Studies. Hello, Sensei. It's Brandon just saying hello. Hello. And so, anyway, let's see, who's this? Courtney, there she is. That's my pretty bad. Yep. So, anyway, what else is going on? There's 4 of you there. 5 thumbs up. How much juice do I have left? Oh, I have about 20 minutes. So, and I want to get in before it really starts to rain. I'm keeping. You can control. You can flow the weather and have it be what you need it to be. Right? Can't control nature, right? But you can flow, right? So I'm shamanically keeping, because the storm is like right over there, and it's not lightning, and it's kind of sunny over there, right? So I'm right on the line. So I'm gonna say goodbye. How long have we been talking? An hour and 13 minutes. Okay. So there was a little insight there, a little bit of story there, a little talking to the gardening Swami Mommy in training, and I love you all. I just I could tiptoe over here and go online, and so I did. So you guys stay well, be good. I love you. Always remember, conscious intent I am, conscious intent I am, conscious intent I am. Ooh, conscious awareness I am, conscious awareness I am, conscious awareness I am. Ooh. Right? So you're aware of what's around you, and you're intent on what you're doing, right? So you just don't stumble into shit. Okay? Love you guys. Talk to you later. Boop, 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 boop.